Hello lovely people, it's Nicola from Stitches and Slapdashery. This video is going to be a little bit different from the usual because I've been away and I didn't get much crafting done in the last week. I did take a crochet hook and some yarn with me, but I barely had time to do any of it because it was an insanely busy 5 days. So I've got a whole ton of clips to try and make sense of on my phone. I haven't even looked back at them yet. So I'm just going to get us started here and show you what happened over those 5 days. I went to VegFest Nanaimo, and it's one of the series of festivals that I'm helping with this year. Normally, I only help with the one in my own town, but this time I'm helping with Nanaimo and Victoria as well. Yeah, it's been a lot. So on Wednesday, I picked up a rental car. I was taking one of the other organizers and one of my sons. So there were 3 of us in the car. We had our own bags, of course. And then there was a lot of festival stuff to squeeze in, including a large tent. Now these tents are sometimes 8 by 8, 10 by 10, 20 by 10. I think this was one of the 10 by 10s. And it wasn't going to fit in my own car, which is why we rented a VW Tiguan, which thankfully, with the seat, one seat folded down, actually 2 seats, because the middle skinny seat plus one of the other seats folded down, we managed to squeeze in the tent and all of our stuff. And I could just about see out of the rear view mirror over the top of everything so that I could see what was behind me. It took a while to get used to driving the car. It's an automatic. I haven't had an automatic since my Ford Aerostar way back when the kids were quite young. But once I got used to it, it was very pleasant to drive, I have to say. It was lovely. So that was Wednesday. We loaded up as much as we could on the Wednesday. My friend came on Thursday morning and put her suitcase, last minute things in. And then we were off at about 9:20 in the morning, and we drove 400 kilometers to Horseshoe Bay, which, if you don't know, is a ferry terminal in North Vancouver that goes direct to Nanaimo. So it's better than going to the other one, which is Tsawwassen, which is way down in Richmond, like south of downtown Vancouver. Which then you might have to go to Victoria and drive up, which doesn't make sense, does it? Might as well go direct. Did we stop on the way? We did stop briefly. We stopped at a Starbucks in Hope. Oh, that's right. We stopped in Merritt for a quick whiz and a look around their little tourist shop there. And then we carried on to Hope, where we stopped at a Starbucks, grabbed a coffee, had a quick sandwich, and then we carried on to Horseshoe Bay. We actually got there a little early, thankfully. I was so concerned that we would not allow ourselves enough time. But I think it took about 5 hours total to get there, which is good going, because we did get slowed down in the Langley area. Of course, there's always construction. There's always something happening with the roads. Always. And you know it's not just going to be smooth sailing. The ferry crossing was a bit unexciting because it was foggy and you couldn't really get much of a view of the islands we were passing across the inlet, but that's all right. I sat and read my library book for a while. And then we got off at Nanaimo. We went straight to somewhere called Sealand Pho, which is a Vietnamese place, and it has some vegan options. So we were able to eat some noodles and vegetable soup, and I can't remember what else. Oh, like summer roll type things. And then we went to Vancouver Island University. The student residences there are rented out, a bit like an Airbnb in the summer when the students aren't there. And we were meeting up with one of the other organizers there. So there were 4 of us sharing a quad apartment We each had our own bedroom. Each bedroom had bunk beds, but there was only one of us in each room. And they were surprisingly comfortable. The bunk beds were nicely sprung, and they had just a basic sort of comforter on top and a nice squishy pillow. And I slept better there than I have in a lot of other places with much more plush beds in, I have to say. That was great. On Friday, the two organisers who we were sharing with, they spent almost their entire day on their computers, calling vendors, tying up all the loose ends for the last minute for the festival the next day. And my son and I took the car and we went out shopping, and we had to go to about 10 different places, buy a whole ton of different things. We went to Costco, we went to Dollarama, we went to Thrifty's supermarket. We got bags for the goodie bag giveaways. We got raffle tickets and food for the evening, and it was just endless. And we also put some gas in the car because it was getting a little bit low by that point. So 4 hours, and then we got back to the apartment, and I spent some time just finalizing up the gift baskets that were going into the raffle the next day. Dinner was a volunteer barbecue in the evening. It's been a long time since I barbecued any food, but we had veggie burgers and something called swap chicken, which is like a vegan version of chicken. It looks very realistic. And some of the other volunteers who either lived in Nanaimo or had come into town for the event came and joined us that evening at the apartment. So that was fun. The next day was the festival. We had to be up at 5 a.m. for a 6 o'clock drive down to the park. The park was really close. Staying at VIU was quite perfect because it was just a pretty direct route down to the waterfront where Maffeo Sutton Park is. And it was a crazy time of setting up. The festival opened at 10, and so we had 4 hours in which to try and turn an empty park into a festival location. Vendors were arriving, food trucks were arriving. We had to set up big tents, chairs, tables, get the stage ready for the MC and the speakers, get the bouncy castle, the kids zone. Oh, what else? Yeah, there was a lot. And also, of course, our Positively Vegan Central, which was our main desk where we had all the leaflets that people could pick up and where they could come and buy their raffle tickets. It was a kind of a shame that the park is so open to people just walking in from every angle, because it was very hard to set up the perfect entrance to the festival. People were wandering in from all directions, which was disappointing, but you can't really barricade it off, unfortunately. I know I have seen events in my town where big railings have gone up all the way around, but that's usually for something that's paid, so that people don't get in for free when they're supposed to buy tickets. But of course, we were entrance by donation, and so it wouldn't have made sense to try and barricade it all off. So at one point, I decided it wasn't so hot that I couldn't put on my pink pig fleece onesie, which I made 2 years ago with my pig ears. I also went over to the face painting tent at one point, and I got a little rainbow on my face. That drew a few laughs. I didn't wear it all day though, because it got quite hot later in the day, and I was really, really, really dumb because I did not put sunscreen on my face, and I ended up getting a bit of a sunburn on my face, but oh well, it was worth it.
Mathot, Atakiklis, Aki, Mostiva, Haichka, Atasak, the Benequel, Iquam, we at Slack and Apolotane. Yeah, holy, holy, hola. Yeah, holy, holy, hola. Hey yo, holy, hey yo, holy, holy, hola.
Of course, we stayed for breaking down everything at the end as well. And I'm not sure what time we finished, maybe about 6 by the time everything was packed up. So we went back to the apartment and had a shower and then went out to dinner at somewhere called Baby Salsa, which is a Mexican place, which is only 5 minutes drive from VIU. And I would definitely recommend it. It has 2 whole pages of vegan menu items. And I had a very good burrito. And then it was time to crash out. Slept well that night. The next day, we slept in a bit, which was lovely because, you know, it had been an exhausting day the day before. And I had to hang around at the apartment for the morning because we had some people coming over to pick up their raffle prizes from the day before, the ones that hadn't come on the day to get them. My 2 organizer friends had already set out to drive the budget truck to Duncan, where we have a storage unit now to put all the festival stuff between events. And they needed us to come down and join them. And the idea was, I believe they were originally going to leave the truck there and have us drive them back. But in the end, they drove the truck back. Anyway, my son and I went and joined them there. We finished putting everything neatly into the storage unit. We had a very late lunch at somewhere called The Garage in Duncan at 4 o'clock, which was, again, a lovely place, fun little place. We picked up like a refrigerated salady thing. Like I had a refrigerated Greek salad, which had a whole ton of stuff in it, like dolmades and hummus and olives and you name it. And a date square. It's all about the food. And then we drove back to Nanaimo. And then in the evening, once we got back to town, rather than go straight back to the apartment, we parked up and we did a walk along the waterfront all the way along and then round back through downtown. A little bit of beach time. Guy just said he saw 3 orcas out there, and now I want to see whales. This is one of the ferries that goes to Gabriola Island, I think. Don't quote me on that, I may be wrong. And this cool looking building is I think called Lighthouse Restaurant. And it is, or the Lighthouse something, and is the, yeah, it says restaurant, pub, seaplanes. It is the depot for Harbour Air, the seaplane company. This is a fun little restaurant down here, a floating restaurant. I think I did like 10,000 steps plus each day that we weren't driving. My poor feet. Monday was driving home. From the ferry, the captain would do announcements if there was any chance of seeing whales or anything interesting. And apparently there was a humpback scene. Again, I missed it. And we saw some whale watching boats out and about, and the captain did the announcement that says, keep an eye out over there because the whale watching boats are there, so you might see something, but I still didn't. And then when we got off the boat, we drove to a place called Buddhaful in the Lonsdale area of North Vancouver because it was kind of on the way. Obviously, if you're going to get off the main highway, you're going to do a little bit of driving around smaller town roads, but it wasn't too far off the beaten track for us. And again, it was a really, really good lunch. I had a Buddha bowl that had a ginger miso sauce smothering lentils and vegetables and all sorts of tasty things in it. And I had a raw Nanaimo bar. You can't go to the coast without having a Nanaimo bar. And this was a really good one. So we carried on driving, and I drove all the way to a place called Bridal Falls Park. It's just after Chilliwack. If you live in BC, you'll know where that is. And from all the trips that Mr. Stitches and I used to do with the kids all those years ago, I knew that as we were through Chilliwack and heading for the mountains again, that there was this place called Bridal Falls Park. And if you have time and you walk up to the falls, it's absolutely beautiful. But I just wanted to have a quick bathroom break, and we switched drivers. So my friend started driving from that point, and she drove all the way home. So I did do most of the driving, but it was nice to get a break from it for a while, because the concentration, and you start to get sort of aches and pains because you're holding yourself in one place for so long, and it gets a little bit stressful. We got home about 7:30 at night and unpacked most of our stuff, and that was the end of the trip. Whew, what a crazy 5 days. Yesterday, I decided I was not going to go anywhere because the house had been peopled by adult sons for the 5 days and tends to get a little stale when you're away, even when there's people here. I made sure to get the vacuuming done. I cleaned the bathrooms, mopped the kitchen floor, all that stuff. Had to water the plants really well because the son who was responsible for watering Mr. Stitch's potatoes unfortunately failed to give them enough water, and they were looking very, very sad indeed. And I wasn't going to say anything to Mr. Stitches about the plants being a little wilted, but he asked specifically how they were. And I said, well, actually, I had to give them 2 waterings the night I got back and another one the next morning because they were looking very, 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 very wilted. And luckily, they've mostly perked up. They're still looking a little bit less green than they were. Hopefully they'll be all right. So I think that's us all caught up for now. I do have a couple of shifts Thursday, Friday, and then it's the weekend off again. And I do need to get back into the VegFest admin because Victoria is happening in August. I won't be going to that one. I was waiting to see what this trip was like before committing to go for a second trip to the Vancouver Island. It's a long way to go. And it's a lot of work. And I decided not to. Mr. Stitches is getting back from his trip to see family at the beginning of August, so it seems kind of weird to then swan off 10 days later to do the VegFest when he's only just back from his 6-week trip. So I will just hopefully have people on the ground in Victoria who can tie up any loose ends that need tying up and make sure that the silent auction goes well. Next vlog, we'll be back to the usual content. I'll show you the new blanket that I started while I was on my road trip and anything else that I have fun making in the meantime. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.